They think we're lazy and they think that we don't know what we're talking about.
How could I invest in that person when I know that they're not willing to give me 100%?
Little do they know we're smarter than them.
But do you think you'll be able to achieve some of the goals instilled in us?
Our generation does not care.
You see younger generations just making their own rules.
I try not to be judgmental when I see people come into the corporate world with their midriff showing.
You're not reliant to just one job, one corporation that's in charge of the rest of your life.
The cost of housing back when you were like my age was so different. The amount that it's increased over time.
Well, my interest rate was though, in 1981, 19.4%.
You guys in the very end of like, yeah, get a job, get a house, you're gonna be so happy. And you kind of still have that in you. Our generation, we were like, we're not getting that, so.
From boomers to Gen Z, 4 generations, same questions, very different answers. Some answers fit the stereotypes, others might surprise you. This is what happens when you bring every generation to the same conversation about work. All right, we're gonna start out easy here. What do you think is appropriate business attire?
As a retired teacher.
God bless you.
So I come from a generation where women wore stockings and, I mean, you had to dress to impress. And so I try not to be judgmental when I see people come into the corporate world with their midriff showing. I'm old school. I kind of feel bad that they don't have that thing to dress up for because it really made me feel different than just wearing my flip-flops.
Coming from the corporate world, you were expected to come to work in a suit and tie. Occasionally they started getting lax, dressed on Fridays, certain things like that. But you had to look the image because you never knew when you had external customers coming in, and that first look is an impression.
I like fashion. I think like being fashionable is amazing. And so I feel like it's okay to like be trendy and like, wear what makes you feel like beautiful and makes you feel comfortable. It definitely comes to like, okay, when is enough enough? If you're wearing like booty shorts to the office, that's like a whole different story, I
will say I admire the old generation, how you guys would like, even if you weren't going to the office, you would dress up to like go to the grocery store. And like sometimes I try to do that, but sometimes I'm just like sweats and like, but I do admire that. I look back like, yeah, they were always like going out presentable.
I could never go to the store in jammies, and I see people do it all the time. I would die.
I think in 2025, the employer should not have any authority over the way you look, except for like few specific exceptions, such as like hygiene, like doctor uniform, or maybe the front line to the customer. That's like justifiable for me because you're really representing your company at this moment.
I think it helps to express yourself a little bit at work, especially in a corporate environment where, in the past, we were used to having to wear business casual, just really kind of basic clothes, but it kind of helps, I think, your coworkers get to know you a little bit better because you're actually showing up as your authentic self. I think that corporate America has come a long way with it. I find it weird when companies are still making people wear suits.
When do you stop answering emails and calls?
When I'm not getting paid. Do not call me.
See, that can be tough though, because especially in salary positions, technically you're always getting paid.
It can be tricky I've had a very specific experience with this. Texts at 5 a.m., calls during vacation days. It's hard to say no because you do feel like there's this trade-off of salary and benefits or whatever. There's that threat of being fired or maybe not, giving as much as they're expecting from you. If your boss is sending you something on the weekend, he's working now, or, they expect you to be working,
I just used to be that way. Like when I first started like working, I was like putting in 100% of like my effort. And like when I did that, I would just get taken advantage of. So I just told myself for my mental health, like as I got older, I was like, you know what, like it's better for me because I know that it's just more important for me to put myself first.
Yeah.
I will say my very first 9 to 5, I had a mentor and he said, okay, listen, if we tell you to finish it by Wednesday, you finish on Monday, don't tell us until Wednesday because we're going to give you more. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's a good marker. I came from a sales and marketing background, and unfortunately the days of pagers, if you got paged, didn't matter when it was, you were like a doctor on call and you responded to that page. As well as, from a self-initiative in your career aspects and financial aspects, you answered that call no matter when it came in, whether it was at night, the weekend, because that could lead to your compensation.
I think I kind of has to be case by case. Like there's certain emails that I know I'm not going to answer after 6 p.m., but sometimes you could just tell that like somebody needs something.
With my job, we edit our app in real time. So when I receive emails, and sometimes they are really early and I don't get to them until I wake up. Once I wake up, if I do see it, I will respond at least, hey, I'm getting on this now. Sometimes things are top priority or like urgent. And when it comes to that, there's a level of accountability that we're expected with the salary that we do receive. And that's all been explained. We had some younger people, I'm so sorry, that they kind of like weeded out, that were like, they made a lot of excuses along the way and they were let go.
Is it rude to take a virtual call with your camera off? Is it unprofessional?
I think it is. We had a company that made us turn them on, and there was a woman sitting in her bed.
That's why I want it off.
It should be like optional, but I also do believe that you're stealing from yourself by not presenting your image to the others, because it's not only speech that you connect through with people, but also your image. Your video is such a powerful tool.
Well, you need to also be looked at and be perceived that you're engaged. You could be playing a video game at that,
Having your camera on and engaging for an hour is so much different than being in person and engaging for an hour. For me, I've been sitting here forever, staring at the screen.
Yeah.
I can't, something about the Zoom, I can't stare that long.
Yeah. Especially if you're at home, there's so many distractions. Obviously you're gonna get distracted with everything else you got going on. So it's
A lot for me too, it's efficiency. I know I was kind of being jokey before, but in reality, I'm on a Zoom call for 2-3 hours and they need me for about 20 minutes of that.
I prefer for somebody to kind of disclose why their video's off. I think that's a polite thing to do. I'm kind of sick, video off. But if they just are always video off, even in a small meeting, then it's always how come you get to have your video off? What are you up to over there?
How hard do you negotiate your salary?
I come from a place where, women didn't have the rights that they do now. So it was basically, you went into a job and you'd say what salary negotiations, and you never knew what they wanted, so you'd just say open. And usually it was not enough, but you needed that.
I think it's always assumed that the number that you get offered, there's a little bit of wiggle room. So you ask for more than you think that they'll give, and then they'll take it back to what they have in the budget. I was offered a job a few years back, and I consulted with my mom. She's like, what do you mean you're negotiating? Just say yes. Say yes. Exactly. I was like, I'm not asking you for that much more. That's what you do. And then, I got it.
For me, it was easy in sales because your contribution was in black and white. And so that gave you the negotiating power if you exceeded your goals, because that's why you work so hard.
What's the best benefit a company can offer you?
For me, it's PTO. I actually have a job that I took remote. It's kind of unlimited PTO as long as I get my work done and it's salaried. But they also don't give me healthcare. That's the trade-off.
Do you feel like that is a little bit of golden handcuffs though? Because it's there's the people who take advantage of it, and then everybody's looking at them because they're taking so much time. So then people just end up taking no time because they get scared.
But I would take that over healthcare.
Healthcare, that is a non-negotiable. I'm 60 years old. I will not take a job if they don't offer adequate or healthcare that's most of your salary. You get older, you need to see the doctor, even when you don't want to.
I came from an era where pensions were part of your compensation package, and those are pretty much a thing of the past now. Yeah. If you're not going to get a pension, at least have a healthy 401k with a matching contribution.
401k for me. I personally love to invest, so I need that. I want to save for the future.
Is the financial burden of college worth it in today's world?
No.
Unless
you're wanting to be a doctor, please go to school. I am not.
They can't repo a degree, but to be saddled with an enormous amount of debt that likely you will never pay off.
On my specific team, there's about 15 people, and I'm one of the 3 that doesn't have a degree. And then 2 of the people that were let go also had degrees and were fresh out of college.
It's because our generation does not care. No offense, but the past generation, they just care so much about everybody else, the workplace and their coworkers and what they think. And it's our generation, we do not care anymore.
So why?
I think you guys were sold, you guys from the very end of get a job, get a house, you're gonna be so happy. So you guys were came into it we're gonna do it. So even you kind of still have that in you. Our generation, we were we're not getting that. So we're here, what's going on?
I think that gig economy is major contributor to this shift of how we perceive the necessity of having work and showing up on time, because that 50 years ago, that was pretty much the only way.
Yeah, it was embedded in you guys. I feel now this generation is just more relaxed.
But do you think you'll be able to achieve some of the goals that what was instilled in us based on our previous generations?
I think it just depends on the individual themselves, because I have like the motivation to be a CEO, and like I think just because of like our generation, that's just what we talk about nowadays. Just what are ways we can get rich, how to invest in things, and I think back in the day it was more like because the internet wasn't like available, and now it's like the internet is showing you so many things on how to actually like expand your, like investing in real estate or just like in crypto or anything like that. So I think nowadays I've learned so much just because of the internet.
You're not reliant to just one job, one corporation that's in charge of the rest of your life now.
Yeah.
How do you think your generation is perceived in the workplace?
Valued. We have the knowledge, the experience, the work ethic. The younger generations, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but their mindset says a lot, and I envy it in some respects, but then I look at it from a business standpoint and I say, how could I invest in that person when I know that they're not willing to give me 100% and they're going to be here in 5 years?
I think there's a difference though between being read as not giving 100% versus giving up your entire freedom outside of work. Because that's also not as much maybe towards the Gen Z generation, but millennials were kind of looked at that as well, that we were lazy, they can't buy a house and because they're buying avocado toast. I can vouch for the majority of people I know who are my age and Gen Zers work very hard.
Yes.
We just want to do it differently now. So
Just
we
differently.
don't also give up our souls to somebody who's not, like, unless it's our company that we're running.
I'm not sure about now. I can say that like back in the day when we were like starting to, I think we were perceived as like breakaways, like rebels, like punks who would like walk into the flip-flops and trunk into the office.
We took from our baby boomer parents this fear and this like you work till you die, fear your employer and just don't stop working. I mean, I did like over the years, I got a lot better, but sometimes it feels like, you see some people of slightly younger generations who are just making their own rules, which is amazing, and having boundaries.
I've seen it now today that the younger generation does look at us in the way that she was saying, like we either care too much or we work too hard. In my mind though, if I don't work hard, I don't have a job. I do say the younger generation, they're a bit lazier, but they're a bit maybe even healthier. I don't know, like I'm like a worker guy.
I heard a quote, and it might be an oversimplification of the generations. Boomers are, it's all about the money. Gen Xers are, but is it about the money? Millennials are, where is my money? And Gen Z is, what is money? So
I know y'all got
Yes, because he just said it. He just said that like they think we're lazy and they think that we don't know what we're talking about. But little do they know, we're smarter than them. Like
People view us as lazy, but I feel like we just didn't really have that hope ever. But like, oh, I can go to this job and then work steadily for them and like I'll get rewards back. So now it's like, okay, go to your job, work minimum wage, don't really care, or you can kind of like you were saying, go off on your own and like try to be CEO, do cryptocurrency, do real estate, like kind of like forge your own path.
I really want to bounce off of what you said about we're smarter. I've experienced so much ageism and I'm uber smart. I'm not viewed as uber smart. I'm viewed as a liability. She's going to get sick. She's old. She doesn't get the tech. She wouldn't know this song. She doesn't know. And I try my best to stay on point with whatever's going on in the world. But I know that is, they're not as smart. They were too busy doing their job and they don't know what we do. Where you can get on a camera and be an influencer, they can't because they're not smart enough.
No, I feel like that all comes with just learning though. And I understand like your generation didn't have the technology that we do now. So it's kind of harder to be more involved in it. But all that just comes with learning how to use the technology and actually putting yourself out there and just getting familiar with it.
Every generation has its quirks and its wisdom. We've heard their stories. Now we want to hear yours. Which answers had you nodding along? Which ones had you shaking your head? Do you think your own generation got it right? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation, and share this with your friends and coworkers. You might be surprised at what they have to say.